Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 6.
Breaking news in Richmond. We're on the scene of a fire that has damaged a hotel.
Surveillance photos captured on UK's campus might provide some clues as to who is responsible for these shots being fired.
What's the emergency? My phone's up.
Police arrested a Central Kentucky woman after that 911 call.
And how many Kentucky teachers are turning to the internet to help pay for the cost of learning? WKYT News at 6 starts now. Good evening. It's a busy Monday. Tonight we are tracking two breaking news alerts here in Central Kentucky. The first one is in Lexington. Police are telling us an innocent bystander has been injured in a shooting.
5 people have now been shot in the city since Friday. Police tell us late this afternoon, a woman sitting outside a home near 5th and Ohio Streets was shot. WKYT's Victor Puente joins us live with the breaking details.
Police left about 15 minutes ago. They took about half a dozen shell casings with them that they found in this intersection. They tell me the woman who was shot was just sitting on her front porch at the home behind me. About 2 hours ago, police were called here after they say 2 vehicles came down Chestnut and the people inside were shooting at each other. The police don't know if anyone in those vehicles was hit, but a woman in front of her home was. When I got here, she was being loaded into an ambulance. Police tell me she was hit in the leg or lower part of her body. Police say they found one of those vehicles with 12 bullet holes in it. They're still looking for the people who were inside that car. They're also still looking for the other vehicle involved, a dark SUV. Now, police say with all of those shots, there may be other victims.
It's very likely that maybe some of the individuals in the vehicle were shot, and so we're continuing to follow up on that right now. The victim who was shot here is a woman on the porch.
Police tell me one factor that may help them is the number of witnesses they have in this case. They say this is a very busy intersection, and there were a lot of people out here. Saw them interview several people who heard those shots, saw those cars going by. Live in Lexington, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Now to a breaking news alert we continue to track in Richmond. Part of a motel now has heavy damage because of a large fire.
That fire started this afternoon at the Country Hearth Inn off of the Eastern Bypass. We have learned more about the fire in the last hour. WKYT's Jordan Valines is live with the breaking details on this story. Jordan?
That's right. When firefighters arrived here on the scene around 3:30 this afternoon, they say that heavy smoke and flames were visible, and they quickly found out that the fire originated in the top right half of the building in one of the rooms on that side. Now, they say that the occupant of the room was not there at the time, and even though he was the only person staying on that side of the motel, firefighters still decided to evacuate the entire building because heavy smoke was quickly spreading into nearby rooms and even spreading it to the bottom floor. Right now, fire crews are still on scene, working to put out any hot spots and also removing burnt debris from the room where the fire originated. Now, they did tell us that they faced some obstacles fighting this fire.
A lot of unique challenges. You know, we didn't know the building, how many occupants were in the building, where the fire was, where it started, and how far it could have escalated before we got here.
Now, in the past few minutes alone, firefighters have found a hot plate in the room where the fire started, and at this point, they do believe that that hot plate may have caused the fire that took place this afternoon. Live in Richmond, Jordan Valines, WKYT.
A scare on the University of Kentucky campus. Police issued an alert after reports of shots fired. They later found a pellet gun nearby.
And tonight, UK football coach Mark Stoops says he's gathering information to see if any members of his team were involved. UK police released these surveillance photos of some people they want to question, calling them persons of interest. WKYT's Jerica Insco joins us live from campus with the latest in our top story at 6.
It was before 10 p.m. that UK students here on campus reported hearing gunshots, and why those shots were fired is a question that UK police still need answered. Campus now looks like a typical afternoon for UK students, but Sunday night it looked and sounded much different for some.
I was pulling in and all of a sudden the gunshots start happening, and so I just ducked and I told my friends to get in and they ducked too.
After some investigation, UK police say those shots were fired from a pellet gun found hours after behind a dorm. But for a couple hours, the south side of campus was on lockdown, with UK and Lexington police searching for these 6 persons of interest caught on surveillance cameras near the Kerwin-Blanding complex.
The 2 witnesses that saw this also said that they heard the gun go off and then heard it hit something. So they felt like it was a real situation.
As for who is connected to this incident, one clue is being looked at that you can see here in surveillance photos. It's a t-shirt that resembles the same t-shirt only given to UK football players. Coach Mark Stoops was asked about it in a football press conference, but couldn't say much.
I've been about 5 minutes ago before this press conference, honestly, so let me gather some information on that and go from there.
Another question is why someone would do this, scaring several students nearby.
A lot of fear in hearing the gunshots, a lot of fear in, thinking that you're going to get shot.
Even if it was just a pellet gun used, UK police say wanton endangerment and terroristic threatening charges could stem from this. UK police tell us on campus any gun of any kind, including an airsoft pellet gun, is prohibited. For now, we are live on UK's campus. Jerica Insko, WKYT.
UK police also say they're still investigating if this was a prank or if the shots were aimed at someone.
Besides the shooting we told you about a few minutes ago at the top of the newscast, Lexington police have 6 other shooting incidents they are investigating. But police say that none of the 4 other victims have life-threatening injuries. Investigators do believe the first 2 shootings that happened late Friday night, one on Bainbridge Court, the other outside a liquor store on Charles Avenue, are connected. They don't believe the other 4 incidents are linked to any others. Police say that the 4 victims are not cooperating with them. So they're asking for the public's help identifying the shooters.
At the beginning of summer, end of spring, we had a situation that was similar to this where in a very short period of time we had a number of shots fired or people shot. And I think that the community did an excellent job of coming together and telling us what they knew and working with us to catch the suspects.
Police say their descriptions of the shooters are limited to height, weight, and clothing. They say no witnesses have provided them with any names.
She claimed she had an emergency, but police say she just wasted a 911 dispatcher's time. Georgetown police arrested Angie Roberts for disorderly conduct. From jail today, Roberts admitted she made a mistake. So what did she claim her emergency was? WKYT's Sam Smith has the story, new at 6.
911 is for emergencies only. That didn't stop Angie Roberts from calling anyway.
What's your emergency? My phone is up. Okay. That's not really an emergency.
We get some strange phone calls on 911, but that one was different.
It's because I went and got phone service for my phone, and it would not work. It said emergency calls only, so finally I got aggravated and hit send.
Police say they showed up at her apartment Wednesday night responding to the call. Records show that Roberts told police her phone needed to be programmed. Police told her it wasn't an emergency. Officers were kicked out of the apartment, and she then followed police to the parking lot, cursing and causing a scene.
I speak my mind, and it gets me in a lot of trouble.
She was arrested and charged with disorderly conduct and criminal mischief. She was released from jail but was put back in jail on Friday on a new disorderly conduct charge from a separate incident. Roberts says she needs mental help because she doesn't want to keep going in and out of jail.
But obviously there's something wrong with me if I keep ending up in jail. I mean, normal people aren't in jail all the time.
In Georgetown, Sam Smith, WKYT.
Roberts will be in court on her latest disorderly conduct charge tomorrow.
Kentucky teachers many times pay out of pocket for classroom needs, but a national crowdfunding site just for teachers is helping with donations from complete strangers. WKYT investigative reporter Miranda Combs has more on the cost of learning.
At the far end of town,
when these boys and girls are in this room, they are Mrs. K's kids.
Thank you, sweetheart.
And since she claims them, she wants the best for them.
Right.
It's okay. It's Green's turn. This is her first year in this new Clark County elementary school.
One morning, I came to this glorious place.
She's worked hard to make her new space user-friendly.
It's more difficult for them to stay seated in their desk the entire day.
Her first class here isn't very gender balanced.
I don't know what that stuff is. I have 17 boys in my room and 6 girls, and little boys tend to be a little bit more active.
So times like this, when closeness is part of the curriculum,
Sounds like you know this story, don't you?
it gets tight and cold and uncomfortable for second graders to sit still.
I hate to have them sit for long periods of time on a tile floor.
So Mrs. K hit the web and asked for help from strangers for a softer place for her pupils to land. A carpet like this one runs upwards of $500.
The carpet would help in that it just be a little bit more comfortable than just sitting on a tile floor.
This site is called DonorsChoose.org, where teachers can post about projects or items they'd like to get for their class. It's a national site popular in Central Kentucky.
I've had some people that I don't even know that have donated.
The site was brought to our attention more than a week ago during the state auditor's press conference concerning the Fayette County school system.
There are currently 11 Fayette County public school teachers asking for money to buy basic supplies for their classroom, most of which are in high poverty schools, on a national crowdfunding website.
State Auditor Adam Edlin pointing to a Fayette County trust fund he says is meant for the enhancement and enrichment of the educational program that Edlin believes may not be being used for that purpose in Fayette County.
Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffle of food to go around.
There's no trust fund for classroom enhancement in Clark County. The Clark County superintendent says teachers benefit from the district budget and other programs to help with classroom necessities.
We work very diligently to make sure their teachers' needs are met, to do everything that we can possibly do to see that they have what they need to teach the kids.
But he knows what the district can provide isn't always enough.
They want the best that they can provide for their kids.
So many end up paying out of pocket for materials to complement the class.
You find creative ways to find things that aren't so expensive.
But when the cost is more than they can justify paying on their own, they ask for donations here.
Something like this affords them an opportunity to do things just for their classroom.
Now all that was left beneath the bad-smelling sky.
In this case, a little comfort for busybodies.
Ask him. He knows.
It's a rhyming book.
And as for Clark County, funding for classrooms is based on school population. Their budget includes money for materials and furniture for classrooms, but the superintendent says teachers are creative and many times want more than they have.
Is having the students seen as a beneficial, as a plus in all of this project?
Absolutely. That teacher we spoke to said the kids love to follow along and see how much money they've raised. In that case, they've only got about $250 left to make it to their goal. So they're all hoping this helps as well, I'm sure.
Feeling like they're part of the process.
Sure.
Thank you, Miranda. Well, hundreds of inmates from Vermont are serving their sentences in Kentucky under a contract. To find out why they could be leaving the state, coming up at 6.
And the forecast looks pretty good for the next few days. Right now, though, tracking a few showers out in eastern Kentucky, but that's it. We're going to go through a nice period before big changes. I'll have the full forecast coming up.
Follow WKYT online at WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
Hundreds of Vermont inmates serving their sentences in Kentucky prisons could be leaving the Bluegrass State.
Vermont has around 500 inmates in Kentucky and Arizona prisons under a contract with the Corrections Corporation of America. But that contract expires in July, and the Vermont Department of Corrections is searching for a new contractor. It's cheaper for Vermont to send inmates out of state. In March, Lee County officials told WKYT that housing Vermont prisoners at the Lee Adjustment Center brought in extra money to the county.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Jim Caldwell and First Alert Defender.
It has been a really nice day for most of us across central and eastern Kentucky. A lot of sunshine, very comfortable temperatures, and that will continue at least through midweek. Right now, we look outside into other locations. Of course, Lexington's thrown into the mix as well. You see a lot of blue skies out there with some clouds showing up to our south, and temperatures generally running in the low 80s across most of the area, too. So keep that in mind. You go out in eastern Kentucky where the clouds have been a little thicker, they're a little bit cooler, and even a few showers have been showing up there for a little while, but most Most of that now starting to completely wind down, along with some of the thicker cloud cover associated with those showers, and even a thunder shower that developed out across parts of Floyd County a little earlier. Your evening looks fantastic, around 72 at 8 o'clock, 64, mostly clear skies at 11, and will continue to cool things off during the overnight hours. The absence of those clouds will really help us get into the mid-50s, I think, in many locations out there. Tomorrow will surge again back into the upper 70s, even some low 80s once again. Hour-by-hour forecast shows that precipitation wrapping up in eastern parts of Kentucky. The warm air is right back in here again for us on your Tuesday. You're looking at noontime. We're back in the 70s again, even during that hour. And then a few showers. Try their best to show up out in northeastern parts of Kentucky as a frontal boundary will be flirting with the area. So as it goes grazing by, we might actually track a shower or two. But a much more potent system has all kinds of moisture and potential associated with it. And you see it getting together here across Missouri, out into Kansas, Nebraska, all of them feeling the impacts of that system as what's happening as fall really starts to fight back. And here's what happens. It sweeps across the country. It's already starting to do so, developing here the next couple of days, and then by Friday, it's here. It brings us initially rounds of showers and even some thunderstorms. Immediately behind it, we're going to watch temperatures drop quite a bit. You see the cool air setting up out in western parts of Kentucky, and then by Saturday and Sunday, we're feeling the full effects of it, and breezy conditions all associated with that area of low pressure. It just depends on exactly where that low sets up, how strong those winds are going to be. But the true coldest air will still be off to our north, and it's really going to be cold. As for us, though, hey, it's no walk in the park. We'll see daytime highs drop 15 to 20 degrees, and a few spots during the nighttime hours, low 40s, maybe even a 30-degree reading or two, try to creep back into the area as we go into the weekend. Certainly a good possibility. Some chilly stuff heading our way. Our zone-by-zone forecast tomorrow, we're around 80 degrees for a daytime high. Again tomorrow with a mix of sun and clouds. More sun than anything, though. With that front, though, trying to drift in, we'll see at least some residual clouds try to at least roll through the skies of central Kentucky. And then you got low, maybe a mid-80-degree range down in southern parts of Kentucky. Here's our 7-day forecast, which will feature those changes as well. First 3 days, they look fine, right? Daytime highs are comfortable. Just got that late chance of rain on Thursday. Very windy on Thursday as well as that system is heading for us. And then you see the bottom fall out and those temperatures really drop into the 60s, which any other time of year you go into, in December, we were saying, whoa, 60s, that sounds great. But when you go from 80 to 60, it's going to feel a little chilly, especially at night where you actually have the 40s, guys.
Say going 80 to 40 is a big jump.
That is a huge jump, and we'll feel it, I assure you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Well, Rob's next, and Coach Mark Stoops talking about Steve Spurrier.
Stoops knows the head ball coach, and he knows he'll have to have his team ready Saturday night. And Coach Cal says he will coach differently than he has ever coached before. And he knows some fans will be jumping off the bandwagon. Sports is next. John Calipari holding court today in Louisville at the UK Alumni Association tip-off luncheon. Earlier, you heard Cal talk about platooning players, said that he would do that to start the season. Now, UK basketball created a new position for a director of analytics. The purpose of the analytics is to evaluate player and team performance using statistics to help develop efficient strategies and make the Wildcats more attractive to the NBA.
Listen, folks, I have never coached this way. I haven't, but I'm going to, and I'm studying, and I'm doing everything I can to make this work so every one of these kids eats, and it's not going to be easy. Listen, some of you are going to jump off the bandwagon again early, and if you do, please, if you're the neighbor, call and say you did this last year, and he let you back in. He may not let you back in this year.
Now, Matthew Mitchell was also on hand today, meeting the UK alumni. Cal had to leave early, and that gave Mitchell the perfect chance to tell a funny story about his first time in front of the Alumni Association.
That's how Cal stole one of my oldest tricks in the book, that recruiting trick. Gotta leave, got a big recruit going. I did that the first time I spoke to this group to thunderous applause because you didn't have to listen to me speak anymore, and I walked out the door and y'all were real happy with that. So
South Carolina comes into Commonwealth Stadium this weekend. That means Steve Spurrier will be in town. And the Gamecocks are coming off a heartbreaking 1-point loss to Missouri at home. Stoops says he knows Spurrier. He and his brother Bob are good friends. And whenever you play a Spurrier-coached team, you better be ready.
You know, he's done it all and does a great job of getting his teams ready to play. And you know, you got to be, just like you said, you got to be very locked in when you play him across the board. Certainly, that's how you feel as a defensive coordinator playing against him, because if he knows what you're in, it's going to be a long day for you. You know, you got to be very, you got to really watch what you do and change things up on him, because he's so great at play calling.
So it's the Cats and the Gamecocks this weekend. It'll be under the lights, kickoff at 7:30 on the SEC Network. And the following weekend, October 11th, Kentucky going outside the SEC to play Louisiana Monroe. That will start at noon on the SEC Network. And after that game, the Cats will have only 2 games left at home, Georgia and Mississippi State. We'll be right back.
A few more warm days and then the bottom drops out.
And it's really going to fall this time. I mean, we're talking about temperatures dropping from the 80s to the 60s, and I'm being very conservative here and optimistic, saying 62. There's a chance that some folks might get stuck in the 50s. You throw the wind in, it's going to make it feel even worse as we get into your Saturday. So a really solid chill coming our way this weekend.
All right, cool temperatures for the first night game this season.
Yeah, under the lights, finally.
Finally, yeah. All right.
Thanks so much for joining us tonight.
We'll see you tonight at 11 on WKYT.